So today we're like trying to understand and identify burnout. So, for in your opinion, what are the main emotions or physical warning signs of burnout?
Okay, so we tend to use this word quite often. We just like, okay, I'm tired and burnt out. But there's actually a big difference between just what we feel as tired and what we feel as burnout. So, burnout, the definition actually is a state of chronic, that means continuous, physical and emotional exhaustion. So this differentiates itself from being tired, because if you're tired and you rest, then you can recover. But burnout, because it's chronic, it's continuous, even though you rest, you take a nap, you get away from work for a while, you eat what you like for a while, and you come back and it's like, I still don't feel well. Something's still off for me. So this is the differentiating factor. And so this is something that we tend to just attribute to being tired, but actually it's much more than that.
So, for burnout, do you think like workload or perfectionism, which tend to have there's a lot of people that have perfectionism problems, contribute to the burnout, especially in the workplace?
Okay, so we tend to ascribe our value, our own work, to the job that we do, without us actually realizing that a lot in the modern workplace is not within our control. So the outcome may not be as how we plan, and it may not be in the direction that we wish. So when things don't work out or aren't as smooth as we had hoped, we feel that it reflects back on us. So having a higher sense of perfectionism definitely adds to that feeling of lack of control, which can lead to burnout, because you're constantly feeling, why am I not getting it right? Why aren't things working out as how I planned? Why am I not in control? Why are things happening the way I want it to be? So that can definitely lead to increased levels of burnout.
As you mentioned, like how a person with perfectionism will constantly in a tired state or like promote burning out. So do you think like transitioning from a workplace or to a new job role, like maybe you're a normal lecturer and you became a program director, does that trigger a higher rate of burnout?
So if you were to transition to another job, it depends on whether you have past experience to support that. If you do, then it's a new place, a new environment, a new culture, so things could be better or it could be worse. So this is where when people are interviewing particular jobs, right, they interview for the job, not realizing that the job is part of an organization, which means there's a particular culture. So I would recommend for anyone out there, when you actually apply for a job, don't just look at the job. Where does the job fit within the organization, and what kind of culture are they supportive? As an example, are they, this is your job, that's your role, you do your thing, I do my thing. So if you can get that kind of support, the emotional support, it makes a big difference. But if you don't, then you're all in on your own, and even though it's a new job, it's going to be worse for you, because again, coming back to the first answer, your value or your worth is in how you can produce the outcomes. And if it's a new job and you don't quite understand how things work, or the culture is not supportive, it's going to end up worse for you.
So basically, having a new role doesn't really play a big problem.
It's not the solution that we would like to have. So I give you one example. A lot of people I've met over the years think that the grass is greener on the other side. So it's like, oh, I'm not happy here. You know what? Let me go to my competitor and things will be better. So the competitor usually likes people who leave, right, from a similar industry, because good, bring your experiences. You have your talents, and we need something like that. But what people usually realize quite quickly is that once they go to a new place, yes, that initial problem may not be there, but there's a whole new host of problems which they didn't anticipate. So it's not really going from the grass is greener on the other side, but it's kind of like going to, it's a different type of grass.
It's different. So basically, the problem doesn't remain a same problem, but there is a new problem that's going to come.
Yes, it's going to be a different set of problems there. Yes.
So when coming to identifying burnout, do you think it's important to identify them earlier since they may potentially become a long-term consequence if it's ignored?
I mean, the answer is yes, but us being humans, you know, what we like to do is like, no, I'm strong, you know, I can take it, you know, I'm tough, you know, I'm being disciplined, you know, and the modern world kind of rewards those kinds of perspectives, you know, it's not like, oh, I need to take care of myself, oh, why am I feeling this way, you know, and then the colleagues may not be supportive, you know, why are you so soft, what's wrong with you, that also you can't take. You know, so these kinds of environments kind of build it in you like, no, I got to be tough. No, I'm stronger than this. No, I can handle this. Every time we say something like that, we push aside what's really going on in our life. And we don't want to acknowledge the limiting factor, which could be us. Just because we see everybody else doing well, are they really doing well? Or is everybody looking at each other and like, oh, you know what? There's no sign of weakness here. Everybody seems to be strong. I must be strong too.
Okay.
So that's why I say the culture of the place is vital. So if you work in a place which is very supportive and understanding, then it's like, okay, you know what, take a mental health day, you know, take some time off. Or you know what, here, why don't you see the counselor or the employee assistance program, the support there. Certain places though, it's like, no, you stay in the job, unless you're sick, you do your work. So it's a different type of environment that we're talking about.
Do you feel like modern days, especially like this couple of years, due to more exposure to mental health, well-being, do you think that companies are transitioning into taking care of their employees more?
Okay, yes and no.
Yes and no.
Particularly from the pandemic, we could see that the importance of taking care of one's mental health increased. However, once we all came back to the office, so to say, the expectation was, okay, you're back, work. However, having said that, this tends to be different within the different generations in the organization. So I guess you give an example, Gen Z.
The Gen Z.
Okay, the Gen Z who are so-called the problem generation that's coming to the workplace, they came a significant part of their so say their young adulthood was during COVID and all that kind of stuff. So for them, it's like, I need to take care of myself. I'm very in tune with myself. I need to manage myself. All the other later generations, though, is like, suck it up.
Suck it
Come
up.
on. You know, what is this? This is a non-reason. You know, but having said that, companies overall are starting to realize that immaterial of which generation you really come from, taking care of one's mental health is important. In fact, research has shown that the more how should I put this, the healthier each employee is, not just from a psychological but also a physical standpoint, they end up to be more productive. They take less days off work due to falling sick, which means that they actually produce more. On the other hand, if you have an employee that has symptoms of burnout, so let's start with the psychological aspect of things. So brain fog, can't really focus, can't really concentrate, means productivity goes down. But because they're not producing, their stress level goes up because it's like they're being pressured to perform, but they can't focus. What happens? Increased amount of stress lowers their immune system. Now they're more vulnerable from the physical side to fall sick more often. Which means what? More sick days, more time days of work, less and less even productivity. So companies are realizing the bigger picture. Yes, they would prefer staff to be strong and healthy and focused. But if they don't address whatever the stresses are in the workplace that are setting off these people to experience burnout, as an example, then over time it drags everybody else down. You know, and in fact, just look at someone, let's say, who's experiencing burnout, for example, they don't reach out, which means they don't get the support. And then others may not be as sensitive because they themselves may be in that situation. So it's like everybody is in it for themselves. No one's really reaching out and supporting one another. And everybody ends up working in silos. And then what happens to you? I don't know. I'm not aware. And then everybody...
It's like a pillar falling.
Yes, so one pillar hitting another pillar, and then eventually it's like, why is everyone sick right now? Yeah, the whole system's down.
So when it comes to employees, how do you differentiate whether, not even just employees, it's like fellow students or just anyone for a matter of fact, how do you differentiate whether it's a normal stress and normal tiredness and actual burnout?
Okay, one of the simplest things that we can do to just become aware of ourselves is normally when we're tired, we take a break. We take a nap, we just, refocus on other things. And usually when we come back, we're like, okay, I'm ready now. Okay, so that brief time away, that brief rest recharges us or allows our batteries to come back up. Okay, now I'm ready. That's tiredness, and that's how we can just easily manage things. However, burnout, as I mentioned, is consistent, it's chronic. I'll give you a very simple example. So, students, okay, I'd say from a student's standpoint, assignments and assignments and assignments. You're trying to finish one, but you have to meet the group members in order to accomplish things. While you're trying to do that, here's another assignment. That's also the due date. Okay. And then while you're trying to prepare this with another group, but this one is and then here's another one. So I noticed, as an example, towards the end of the second half of the semester, where all the assignments tend to be due, and then final exams are coming, and then everything's happening, and then it's like, there's no breathing room. There's no time to take a break. I just gotta keep going. I gotta keep going. Then students in those situations, if they don't take care of themselves, because it's chronic over a few weeks, right? When you come to exam, fall sick. They fall sick, they have a fever, they got a cough and cold, and then during exam hall they can't focus because they are coughing and all that kind of stuff. So their mindset is not fully on the exam, and then they end up not doing well. So that's just an example of prolonged stress with no breaks in between that can actually lead to burnout, right? So the key is realizing that there are times in life where you really don't have a break. There is no time. Okay, so what I'm going to suggest in those situations is to take whatever snippets of time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, right? Look away. Do something totally else, just or take up a hobby, something else other than that work, to get back to the rhythm of things and to give yourself that sense of meaning again. It's like, why am I here? What am I doing? Because the scary thing about burnout is that you may be in your dream job, okay, but after some time, if you don't address that chronic stress that's leading to psychological and physical burnout, then you start to question yourself and you lose your passion.
This is what I want.
Yeah, it's like, this is what I wanted to do. This is what I dreamed of. I got it. Like, what's wrong with me?
And why am I not happy?
Yeah, why am I not happy? I got everything right. And then it starts a downward spiral, further and further down. And if we don't address it, we don't put a pause to it, we just keep going down, and it will lead to other worse symptoms actually.
So, what I understand or what I hear would be like, once in a while you should take up and be human again.
There's a lot of life beyond the job. It's a very hard even for me to say that because again, our identity is so intertwined with what we do. But once we realize, okay, like I have a friend, I'm married, I've got kids, I'm still a son to my parents and all. I need to get away sometimes and refocus on other things. But more importantly, it shouldn't be like, oh no, now I have other duties and responsibilities, but more like making time for yourself. Okay, for me, exercise really works very, very well. Okay, and when I exercise, let's say when I go to the gym, that 1 hour is me time. My time, me time. Okay, I'm there to focus, do what I need to do, because after it resets me, it gives me that pause away from everything else. Like, you can't be thinking of your job and your unfinished assignment while trying to lift a heavy weight. It's dangerous. You gotta focus on one thing or the other. So you focus on that. At that moment though, it just gives you a break away, refocus on something else, and you can do something productive for your health as well. So things like getting sufficient sleep, eating a good balanced diet, as well as actually taking, regular exercise are actually the basic keys to it. But these are the first things to go, oh, you know what, I'll sleep later. You know what, I'll catch up on my sleep. Let me just keep working at it. You know what, exercise, I'm already fit, I'll catch up later. You know what, food, I just grab whatever I can. Guess what, all these things accumulate to make yourself even worse. All these things don't lead to recovery, in fact it saps you even more. So this is where we tend to forget the basics along the way. We need to have that in order to actually help ourselves, give us that breathing room to recover. It's very, very important. But these are the things we should normally sacrifice. Sleep, first thing to go. That doesn't help in our recovery.
So self-care is something we throw out the dump.
Straight away.
Yeah, which actually contributes the most
Yes.
into burning out.
Yes. Yes.
For the first part, I think we're done.